Hi, well, I'm here at the Australian Institute of Criminology conference on reducing online harms with Professor Michael Salter. Michael, I wanted to ask you about your submission for Childlight to the New South Wales Parliamentary inquiry into harmful pornography. You wrote in your submission, if access to violent and rough porn was more regulated, there'd potentially be a 23% reduction in child sex offending. I'm wondering, how did you arrive at this figure?
So, Melinda, we conducted a survey of 2,000 Australian men, a representative survey. We asked a number of questions, including their sexual interest in kids, also sexual offending against kids. We asked a number of questions about their pornography consumption. And what we found was that the association between sex offending against children and consumption of violent or deviant pornography was so strong that there's likely to be a causal link. That if we were to take violent or deviant pornography out of the equation and make it unavailable or less available, the strength of the association is such that it's very likely that it would actually reduce child sex offending overall.
Wow. What were your other main points in your submission to the parliamentary inquiry?
We had a number of key messages to take to the government. Firstly, that childhood exposure to pornography is a key risk factor for sexual offending by kids against kids. And the Australian Child Maltreatment Study has shown that adolescents sexually offending against their romantic partners, other adolescents, has doubled in a generation. And really one of the key explanations for that has to be the unprecedented availability of porn to kids. We also looked at the way in which child sexual abuse is being normalised through very popular porn genres, so particularly incest-themed pornography, but also sort of barely legal and teen-themed pornography. This is content that is clearly skirting the line or stepping over the line of Australian law, which criminalises pornography in which an actor is inferred or depicted to be a child. So we're really just asking the government to enforce existing laws against child sexual abuse material. We're also concerned about the pathways on social media for kids to start making and selling sexual images and videos. Particularly, kids have become very accustomed to interacting on TikTok and Instagram with OnlyFans content creators. And what they're seeing is adults who are making their own material. They've got a really big social media following. It's very lucrative. And so for a 12 or a 13 or 14-year-old, that makes a certain amount of sense. There's a big market for their material. Yeah. They have a body, they can sell it.
And it's presented as aspirational.
Absolutely, and quite normalised. And so we're really worried about increasing rates of kids who are, in a sense, self-exploiting for money. But what we certainly see amongst child sex offenders is, for a cohort of offenders, a pattern of very frequent pornography consumption, and the type of pornography that they are consuming serving as a gateway to illegal activity. And so that's the point we're also taking forward to the government, which is, if you regulate pornography, if you make it unavailable to children, if you control and regulate the type of content that's available to Australian consumers in the way that we regulate the TV and we regulate movies and we regulate radio and so on, why aren't we regulating the online space in the same way? This will meaningfully reduce the prevalence of children being sexually victimised.
Michael, you and I have been talking about these issues for quite a long time now. What are the risks? What's at stake if state and federal governments don't take urgent action to intervene and put a stop, or at least more tightly restrict, the global industrial porn system, which has caused so much demonstrable harm? We know it now. This isn't speculation. This isn't theory. This isn't our opinion. What kind of stakes are we talking about here?
Well, we have escalating rates of sexual violence amongst young people. We have the normalisation of unwanted sexual practices. So even where sexual behaviour might not be totally non-consensual, what we're hearing from girls and women is that there are a lot of things happening sexually that they don't like and don't enjoy, but they mistakenly think is normal sexual practice because of its sort of distribution through pornography. So we're looking at these sort of population level harms at this point. And it's important to understand as well that the sort of total saturation of the online environment with pornography makes it extremely difficult then to regulate and prevent child sexual abuse material. There's a lot of child sexual abuse material that sits within adult material because pornography platforms are not adequately assessing and moderating the sort of content they make available. So all of the rates in terms of sexual victimisation, sexual harm are going in the wrong direction. There's no question that unregulated porn has a really causal role to play.
Mm-hmm. Thanks so much, Michael. We're so grateful for your efforts in this space and your allyship over many years. Thanks so much.
My pleasure, Melinda. Thank you.
Thank you.